So let's dive into something that's, well, it's a real paradox, one that so many of us live with every single day. It's this strange, heavy weight that comes with being the person everyone else can always count on.
All right, let's just start with a quick gut check. I want you to think about your life, your friends, your family, your coworkers. When something goes wrong, a crisis hits, or even just a small favor is needed, are you the first person they call? Is your phone the one that rings?
And now here's the flip side of that coin. When you're the one who's totally overwhelmed, when you're struggling, or you just desperately need a hand, how often do you actually pick up the phone and make that call for yourself? If you're seeing a big gap between those two scenarios, then yeah, you're in exactly the right place. You see, this whole thing, it's not just a random personality quirk. It's a real pattern, a dilemma we're calling the constant giver. And today we're going to unpack the psychology behind it. We're going to get into the hidden forces that make it feel so much easier to give help than it is to ever ask for it. Okay, so take a look at this list. The go-to person in a crisis, everyone's emergency contact, the friend who just always says yes, the one who feels this immense responsibility to help everybody else. Sound familiar? I mean, for a lot of us, this is a huge part of our identity. And look, it feels good to be needed, right? But man, it can also be so incredibly isolating and just plain exhausting. So, what's really going on here? Why do we do this? Well, it almost always comes down to one single thing. We're afraid of being a burden. Deep down, underneath all that reliability, there's this powerful fear that if we ask for help, we'll just be an inconvenience to the very people we're always trying to support. Okay, but let's just pause on that for a second. What if that fear, that core belief that drives so much of what we do, what if it's just wrong? What if it's based on a huge miscalculation about how people actually work? What if we've got it completely backward? And this is where it gets really interesting. Because this isn't just me speculating. There's some fascinating research that has looked into this exact thing. And the results? They pretty much challenge everything a constant giver thinks they know about asking for help. Yeah, so a couple of researchers, Francis Flynn and Vanessa Lake, they actually gave this a name. They call it the underestimation of help. It's a cognitive bias, which basically means it's a blind spot in our thinking. Our brains are kind of wired to get this wrong. We consistently, and I mean predictably, think people are way less willing to help us out than they actually are. And this quote really nails it. The key phrase here is social costs. See, in our heads, we build up this whole story, right? We think asking for help is going to be awkward, that it'll make things weird, or that people will think less of us. But what the research shows is that we are terrible at guessing this. We massively overestimate how bad it's going to be. In fact, most of the time, the reality is the total opposite. And we're not just talking about being a little bit off. The data is wild. We get it wrong by a factor of 2. Let that sink in. That means you believe someone is only half as likely to say yes and help you as they actually are. Just think about that for a second. Think of all the support, the connection, the sheer relief we're missing out on, all because of that one single huge miscalculation. Okay, so if people are actually twice as willing to help as we think, then why is it still so incredibly hard to ask? I mean, gut-wrenchingly difficult. Well, the answer has everything to do with the hidden power dynamics at play. And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? When you're the one giving help, it feels safe. You're in control. You're in a position of power, of competence. But the second you switch to receiving, whoa, that flips the entire script. Suddenly it feels exposing. You're giving up control. You're admitting that you have a need. That feeling, that sense of being exposed, that's vulnerability. And let's be honest, for someone who has built their entire identity around being the strong one, the capable one, vulnerability can feel like the scariest, most dangerous place on earth. So let's really dig into why it feels so tough. First off, you have to actually admit you have a need, which means you have to confront your own limits, and that's hard. Then, you're disrupting that whole power balance we just talked about. You have to trust someone else. Every single one of these steps is a massive psychological leap away from that safe, comfortable feeling of being the one in charge. But this, right here, is the most important idea we're going to talk about. This is the big reframe. Receiving help isn't weakness. It's connection. Asking for help is not you admitting defeat. It's an act of trust. It's an invitation. You're actually giving someone else a gift, the chance to feel needed, to feel capable, and to feel more connected to you. You're letting them in. So, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. What is one thing? It could be big, it could be tiny, that you need help with right now, but you've been too afraid to ask. Just think about it. What might happen if you decided to trust the research, to correct for that 2x miscalculation in your head, and give someone the gift of helping you?